Hey Carl, how are you?
Well, Kashif, good to be with you again.
Fantastic, man. I know we did one of the previous ones around your discussions in Responsible AI Committee for AI in Hong Kong. And
Yep.
I know we discussed and we around AI use cases. I know there were one couple of other beautiful discussions that happened over there. Tell us a bit more about one of the other discussions.
Yeah, I think what's really topical at the moment, Kashif, is ROI. Are we getting the return on investment on our AI investment at the moment? And a really interesting survey or study that came out was published by the PwC. They do this annually, by the way. It's their CEO survey. This found that in Australia, one in seven CEOs, only one in seven CEOs are
Wow,
seeing a return on investment, right? It's also as low globally as 30%. So there's a challenge here.
that's
People are
that's a
spending
big
money.
challenge, man.
It's huge. We're spending all this capital on and expenditure on AI, but we're not seeing a return. And the question is why? We could look at this a number of different ways. And one of the things that we explored on the panel last night was, first of all, I think what's right at the root of this at the moment is that we're only adopting or thinking about simple AI. It's AI chatbots, it's large language models, it's drafting fancy emails to one another or to clients. It's doing some simple or fancier research that you may have done on Google previously. And I think what this tells me is that we're actually thinking about our AI a little bit too shallow, and we're not really thinking about some of the more complex and higher value opportunities that AI capability brings. So I actually want to turn this question back to you. It's how does an organization think then beyond just shallow AI, Kashif, and what should they be thinking about in terms of getting ready and be prepared to really achieve proper return?
Like, this is awesome. AI, return of investment, is a topic very close to my heart. And recently I did write a little bit about it as well, which is, and my math is not great, but what is one in seven is about 15% or less, which is
Yeah.
very low. And the thought process we have kind of discussed around ROI is before we even think about how to create ROI, we thought in a couple of discussions we recently had that organizations are not even don't even have a consistent way of calculating ROI. So lots of organizations, when they think about return of investment, they usually think about high level bits, such as you said, the value that I'm getting out of my AI, whether that is revenue uplift or whether that is I'm avoiding any cost or whether this is improving my cycle time or whether I'm getting better and quicker outputs related to something, which is okay, which is great. You assess those elements, but when they started looking at the cost elements, they usually focus on the big things like licensing, like
Mm.
hardware, like resourcing. They don't think about the other cost, which is sometimes the biggest one. What recently we were working with a company and we started looking at some of their AI use cases. And some of those AI use cases were changing complete workflows around organizations. They required serious training and uplift of their employees.
Yeah.
They required updating the policies and standards around these things. Biggest thing one of them required fixing data and integrations and some of the APIs. And then, of course, last but not the least, ongoing oversight and monitoring around some of these elements. All of these are cost elements. We have to consider it. I know they are hard to calculate, but you have to put some kind of a number around it to kind of understand what's the real cost of it. And the last but not the least, the cost of adoption and embedding those use cases within the organization, the change element of it, and how much friction you get back, how many people are ultimately using it, and what kind of effort you had to put behind it to ensure that people start using it and embedding it. And that is a real cost. Sometimes these AI use cases take weeks before organization can do it, sometimes months before you start using it. Your original vision only comes true after sometimes months of effort. Once you put all of these, if you can do that calculation before you even jump in and do that AI use case or start implementing it, that will give you a real ROI. I know there are quite a few other elements. As I said, I usually am a big fan of saying people are working across a number of on a spectrum. We have seen some organizations which are doing such a complex, beautiful work around it. Some are doing one or two elements of it, but I think if we are starting to focus on those three big buckets, that you look at your value from a number of different perspectives, but then you look at your cost of beyond just licensing, look at your changes and everything, and then you're looking at the change management. I think that gives you a proper good ROI around these things. Looking at more strategic rather than you said, Carl, not being shallow, not just being very, with a small lens around it.
Yeah, that's brilliant that you've gone into all of that detail, Kashif. I just want to share one last thing on this. The what you've gone through may sound daunting because what you're asking organizations to do is think deeper, be more considerate, and also be a little bit more holistic,
Mm.
which I think is totally appropriate. What is missed in that conversation, sometimes it goes over organizations' heads, is what you are opening up the opportunity to is better use cases, increased uptake, sustainable adoption of AI. So the upside is now much higher because you've been thoughtful about the things that Kashif has touched on. And so whilst it might sound like more investment, it's actually meaningful investment. And I think this is missed quite a bit. And so this is how you actually move from that simple, basic, shallow AI slop to one of the differentiated organizations that's really going to adopt AI thoroughly.
I totally agree. Carl, and I think as a AI governance professionals, this is one of those areas which is probably very niche and very new to us. We probably, all of us, I think, will go into this direction more and more, where people will be expecting that AI governance professionals won't be just talking about risk and trust and guardrails and others, but they will be talking a lot more and engaging with the peers around them on the value element of it and challenging. If none, then our role becomes: are we even assessing or calculating ROI correctly before jumping into it? That's a big role for us from as a governance professionals as well. All right, sir. We promise we'll keep them short. So fantastic. Thanks again, Carl, and I'll see you in the next one.
See you then.